And kind of like what you started talking about, I'd love to end this with like, what are some practical things that we can do as change makers? One of the things I'm aware of is how it sounds quite simple when we're just with people who buy into the story and who are up for imagination, but then it gets very complicated when we add the constraints that with reality. So I'd love to know some simple things that we could implement as change makers to kind of use your learnings for our work.
So I think one of them is about trying to introduce play into activism. Like what does our activism look like if it's more playful? I think there's something about learning how to learning really good facilitation. There's a beautiful training that I did a couple of years ago called The Art of Invitation, which was a real aha moment for me, because one of the things in there was that if you know, my work before then had been, if you want to put on an event, you design a poster, you put it up, and whoever comes along with the people who came along, and then that was it. That's the end of it. In their philosophy, they say the invitation is the most important thing, because it's the people who come. It's not just that whoever comes are the right people. It's like, actually, you need to be really consciously making sure that the diversity of people you need to be there are there, and they're not going to just come if you stick up a poster. It's like, so she says 40% of the time and energy of an event needs to go into the invitation and physically going and inviting people and finding out what will get them there. 20% then goes into the event itself, and then the other 40% then goes into digesting what happened and then feeding that back to everybody who came. In a way that's really accessible to them. So that's something I found really useful. I would say that there's lots of good practice out there and growing really quickly. Good practice of really well facilitated community imagination stuff. So there's one that I would really recommend, that was a presentation that was done in the What Next Summit that you can find on YouTube. If you look up What Next Summit New Constellations, there was a workshop by some people who've designed a process called the New Constellations, and which I was part of. And they ran in a very poor town in the north of England, and it's absolutely the most beautiful, really moving session about what it looks like when you incorporate dreaming in a way that's really skillfully facilitated. And listen to the podcast. The other thing I'd say, because actually for me that's a really ongoing exploration, and every one of those unlocks new things about it. And if you didn't see them as well on robhopkins.net, which is the blog that I do, if you go back about 10 or 12 posts or something, I did a little animated video where I took some of my favorite bits of people talking about 2030 and then animating them together, and that's really, really beautiful as well. I think that's my time up. Sorry I can't be here longer, because I could talk about this stuff all afternoon, but I'm supposed to be on something else at 1. So thank you so much for reading it, is the main thing. Thank you for reading it, really. I mean, if you write a book and no one reads it, that's a fairly lonely experience. So to actually write something and then meet people who've read it and have questions about it is a really precious thing as a writer. So thank you.
Well, I think for all of us, thank you so much, Robin. It's like Johan said, a bit starstruck and just amazing to get to pick your mind for even just a short time.
Great, my pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your conversation. Have great days.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Cheers. Thank you.